Hello and welcome to League of Vloggers. This is episode hopefully 27.
It is
what
27.
it says. Tonight's guests, co-hosts, people that are here.
Yeah.
Curtis James, Viking Redbeard, aka Chase.
Heather Stormy not with us tonight.
She had her dad was in town. They went to go do something. She didn't make it. I don't know.
So she'll be back next week.
She will be back next week.
We're all set.
Shouldn't miss much other than me fucking almost nailing my predictions spot on this weekend.
Yeah, so, you know what? Let's start off with them in order, right? Yeah, we'll talk about Saturday first. So we had TSM, the other El Clasico team. TSM as the 4th seed taking on Clutch Gaming as the 5th seed. Now, Clutch barely made it, well, I should say barely made playoffs. They did get 5th, but they made a late season run to get there. They kind of came out of nowhere, and owning the head-to-heads is part of the reason they were able to get to that 5th seed, but they weren't even tied, actually. They just got it. TSM looking pretty sporadic all through the season, let's be honest. They haven't had a 2-0 week since week 3. But yeah, they had won on Saturday, lost on Sunday. They're basically the opposite of Rush. But they lost every Sunday, all the way through the end. And on week 9, all of a sudden, they subbed out Acadian, who just 2 weeks prior, they had said, this guy's our jungler going forward. And then it was like 2 weeks later, they're like, Spica is our jungler today from Academy. And not only was he their jungler in the playoff, and let's dive into the playoffs right here, but they didn't bring Acadian or Greg as the substitutes. They brought Treats and Tactical, which are their bot laners from Academy, as the subs, and they didn't play. So when we, one of the other things I said, oh, how many junglers do we think we'll see? And I said 3 for the funsies, and you guys said 2. Nope, only saw 1 because they only brought 1.
I'm baffled, confused, mildly enraged. Like, I mean, I did say that Clutch was going to win this set, and I basically only said it out of spite that you guys both thought TSM was going to win it. TSM should have won this. I really have no idea what's going on in their organization right now. Like, they're basically, like, reaching into, like, a fucking hat, pulling out some spaghetti, throwing everything they can at the wall, and apparently Spica's the only thing that stuck. Yeah. And, like, I just don't get it. Like, Spica's not bad, but really, like, you pulled out Acadian and Grig in the playoffs? Like, they had World's contention a little bit.
They still do.
Oh, okay, they still have the gauntlet, you're right.
Yes, they're still in the gauntlet.
But unless they were throwing to completely fuck over, who's the team that's fucked now?
So Optic ends up not
in
contention at all.
Yeah, so Optic's completely out. Like, unless they threw it just to fuck Optic, and, like, this was, like, a jerk-off move, like, okay, we're gonna be assholes. I don't think so either. Like, I really have no idea what's going on with this organization. Like, they are floundering in the worst possible way.
It just feels like the history of TSM all over again. Now, TSM used to be a very dominant organization. Partly because they were the first real organization for esports in North America. I mean, and when I say they kind of were, I mean they were. They were literally the first League of Legends org, period.
Back when they went as Team Solo Mid.
Yeah.
Because they were the team that coined, like, one mage in the mid lane.
Yeah, well, and even before that was a team thing, because the website Team Solo Mid, or the website just Solo Mid existed first. It was Reggie and his brother Andy, and they, you know, made that their meta, because there was lots of metas back then. But yeah, it evolved from there. But they had a lot of the best players because they were one of the first teams to actually, you know, have everyone live together and practice together and blah, 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 you know, and they built out from there. And even the last Glory Day we saw of this team, though, wasn't that long ago. It was a few years ago, and they had Bjergsen in the mid lane, Double Lift in the bot lane, along with Biofrost. They had, and Biofrost was considered a weak link of the team. Svenskeren in the jungle, who slowly declined over the course of his time there, which every jungler seems to do. That's just a TSM special on that one. And they had Hanser in the top lane.
They joined, like, jungler comes in, they give him a little snip, like they remove testicles, and like, here you go.
Yep.
Go play these tank things in the jungle.
Go play Sejuani and don't gank for anyone other than Bjergsen. And yeah, there's all sorts of issues with TSM, but at its core, it's an organizational thing. And one of the things that just blew my mind, not just the bringing Spica in, like that was what the fuck. Like, not only did Acadia do really well when put on the spot in Spring Split, like, it was just like, hey, Grig's injured, you're in. And he did well. They ended up fucking getting third in the regular season, only one game behind Cloud9 and TL. They end up getting to the finals, reverse sweeping Cloud9 in the semifinal. Acadian in his first playoff ever doing this, and, like, being very good. And so then they roll into summer, and I get it. Grig wasn't at fault for going out because it was his injury.
Mm-hmm.
But then they said, okay, well, let's do this battle between the two. And I can go either way on whether that was the right choice or not. But then they kind of did it weird to begin with, and then when they finally made their decision, then 2 weeks later they unmake their decision. And it's just like, okay, so obviously you guys have no idea what you're doing internally. Like, what the fuck? And beyond that, like, Reggie reinserted himself as, like, part of the coaching staff and whatnot last minute. It's like, dude, take a note from the best owner in the fucking league, probably the best owner in esports, Jack Etienne over at Cloud9. Hire the right people, ask them what the fuck they need, give them the money, the people, the resources to do it, and then just walk the fuck away and be friendly. But that's not Andy's deal. He will never be that person. Andy is great with fans and with reporters and journalists. Like, anybody who's not in his organization, he's super nice. If you're a player, you can say you like him, but he does the fucking shittiest stuff. I have never liked him as a player. Like, way back, they were the first team that had, like, an in-house, like, show. And that was the same season, like, they got rid of X-Special, and they got rid of... Or, no, maybe X-Special got rid of later, but... their AD carry at the time they got rid of him, like, and there was just, it was so obvious, like, between fights with those people and fights with Dyers, who was top laner, he was still the mid laner at the time. It's just like, you are an owner and a player and a giant dick. And it seems like he just can't fucking admit to himself that maybe he doesn't have all the answers.
Yeah, well, I mean, no one seldomly does have all the answers, but what they're doing right now is really not good. At the beginning of the split, like, they were doing this whole, like, buying stock in, like, in different teams and whatnot.
Oh, the desk, yeah, I love that game.
And like, right now, it just seems like TSM should not be playing the stock market at all. They're like, things look south, we're gonna sell everything.
I would short TSM and make so much money.
Oh, yeah. it just seems like TSM, like, if anything looks like it could possibly be a problem, like, they're benching it, they're getting rid of it, like, instead of, like, making the right coaching choices, like, there's no way that Spica is better than Grig or Acadian.
Right now.
Right now, yeah. And so to do this in, like, such a clutch moment, like, they would be geniuses if this worked. But it didn't.
Yeah, you're looking like 100 Thieves of last year
And they look like fools.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This is the worst I've seen TSM look as an organization since I've started watching.
I heard it said, I think Thorin, who I don't often agree with at all, and I don't watch much of his stuff, but there were parts of a video he did about TSM just recently, just right after their loss, like he recorded and put it up right away. And there's something he said there that I totally agree with. They don't just, like, hold the fuck on and try things.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. Like, that's like I was bringing up, like, the stock market stuff. I was just like them as an organization, they should not own stock anywhere because they're going to bankrupt themselves because they're going to sell.
They're constantly shifting priorities, and you can't do that. You have to hold on. And, like, the last time they did that was during their fucking heyday when it was Hanser, Sven Skaren, Bjergsen, Double Lift, Biofrost. And they wanted to upgrade at Biofrost's position, and so they ended up dumping their entire bot lane because they won Mythian. Like, I've gone over this before. And so then they had to dump Sven Skaren. Well, so since then, though, they lost that support, brought in a new one, is Smoothie, great support, don't get me wrong. But then they've also switched out the jungler a couple times, and their top laner has been switched out again. Like, and you know what? What are the odds Sven in the bot lane, AD carry, What are the chances he stays in NA or he goes back to EU? Like, I know he has something to fucking prove that he can make it to Worlds on this team, but if this team doesn't make it, do you just fucking cut your losses and go at this point? Because I would.
Yeah, I feel like he made a mistake sticking around an extra year.
Yeah.
Like, for as good as TSM can be, like, they're just pulling too many things. Like, they're making too many moves too close in succession, and it's really hard for, like, a team to be like, okay, am I going to play this week? I don't know. Should I really focus, or should I be like, nah, fuck it? Because I don't think that their mentals on the team can be super solid right now. Like, I mean, if I were Greg or Acadian and I got benched for Spica, like, really?
Yeah. Not just that, but, like, when it happened, you know? It's like, it's the Cody Sun, Rikara thing from 100 Thieves in playoffs. It's like, really? Now? Fuck all you. But, like, I mean, not only that, like I said, Reginald reinserting himself into, like, the coaching decisions, whatever.
TSM
They
right
just...
now, they're like, 100 Thieves, hold my beer, watch me fuck my org so hard.
Right? Yeah, we should make a hold my beer meme for it. I haven't seen one on the LOL subreddit, but I haven't been watching it super close. But I mean, yeah, like, he inserted himself. Dude, they just got Zix as a new coach this year. End of the second split, even though he got them to fucking or to the finals, first split, end of the second split, and Reggie's just, like, fucking pushing him to the side and, like, making choices. They can't even hold off fucking their coaching staff. Like, I don't know why people would choose to go there anymore other than the fat paycheck. And even then, you're hurting your longevity, you're hurting your own statistics, like, you know, as a coach, winning percentages and how good you actually look as a coach, you know. Oh, you mismanaged this team. No, Reggie did, but I didn't have a fucking choice. Looks like you mismanaged this team. You know,
Yeah.
I just don't get it, like, why you would go there. Let's talk about the actual series, though, a little bit.
Alright, so the series went 3-1.
It did go 3-1. You predicted 3-2 clutch, you got it. I went 3-2 TSM. And Heather went with 3-1 TSM, but, I mean, to be fair, TSM was technically the favorite coming in. I think had I known the roster they were taking, I probably would have gone 3-2 clutch. But you might have gone 3-1 then and nailed it.
Maybe. So game 1, Clutch looked really solid, if I'm remembering this game correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Clutch looked really, really solid game 1. I don't think it was a super quick game, but I don't think it was like it lasted forever. Game 2, it kind of looked like TSM had a little bit of life in them. Like that one, it was a little bit more back and forth. TSM looked like they were playing a little bit better. And then ultimately, I think it stalled out and it went the way of Clutch.
I think game 2 was the more dominant one.
Was it?
Because that's when they had Rumble Kiana.
Okay.
And you had multiple fights where Kiana, like, Rumble and
I'm
stolen
probably
Brom
mixing
ults.
up game
Yeah,
1
because
and
Silas
2
was
then.
stealing Brom ults over and over.
Okay.
And,
yeah.
like, you had that one in top, like, river corner there, where there's this, like, Rumble ult comes out, pushes everybody towards a wall. Brom ult comes out, pushes them closer to the wall. Kiana fucks everybody into the wall, and they all die. Like,
Oh yeah, that was
game 2. And
okay. That was game 2.
Yeah.
You're right. I'm getting 1 and 2 mixed up.
I think 1 was fairly close. 2, though, like, Clutch looked real good. And then game 3 is when
yeah.
TSM ended up actually winning the game.
Yeah, and I don't feel like they looked like especially great doing it. They didn't. I don't feel like it was a super dominant game. I'm pulling it up just to fact check myself.
I mean, that was
here.
the game. The Aatrox from Broken Blade and the Zaya for Sven really carried that team, especially Sven. Sven got a pentakill at the Baron Pit. You know, like they were doing the right things. They definitely earned that game, but you know they.
I mean, at 20 minutes, there was only 5 kills total. Like, I mean, this was like a slower paced game. Like, TSM was like playing a little bit more methodically. They
were behind until that river fight near Baron.
Oh yeah. Clutch didn't have like a huge lead, but they had a huge gold lead. They just weren't doing anything with it.
Yeah.
Like, so game 3 kind of turtled out a little bit for Clutch, and
Game 4 was actually close, I think, both ways.
Yeah.
Clutch just ended up being the better team when it came down to it. Some really good Kaisa ults from Cody Sun. There's one that was definitely over-aggressive, but he had one in a fight near Drake that was perfection, and then the one to close out the game where he went forward and got 2 so that they could just run a mid and close it. But I think, honestly, like, and he was the player of the series was Cody Sun, and I absolutely agree. I was really happy to see Cody-san, Huni, and DeMonte all play so well because I just commented on that last weekend where I'm like, you know, in week 9 when they came through and they were playing well, it's because those 3 star players were playing like star players.
Well, I think Cody-san only died like once
he died
or twice.
Okay. In game 3 because there was the pentakill and then there was an ace that right at the end.
Yeah, like
that's
I mean,
it.
Cody's-san is like looking really good right now. Like
he's died in 1 of 9 games and had 2 deaths in that game.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous, and he's never died on his own. The whole team dies, or Cody-san doesn't.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
So game 4, I feel like it was closer in deaths, but in terms of like what was going on the map, Clutch was just owning all of the neutral objectives. They picked up Rift, they picked up most of the dragons. Like it was just like TSM was like they were able to win team fights, but they were losing everywhere else.
Yeah.
And it's just not how you win a series. Like they could have reverse sweeped it. They did not.
Like I mean, okay, game 4. I think game 4 is telling for me going into the next series that Clutch will be playing into TL. Like that TSM was good enough to take them to 5 if they just didn't suck game 1 and 2. Or they had a more stable team that had more experience together, all those things. If it was an Acadian in there, I think they'd probably go to 5 games. Or, you know, at least look better in 4. Mm-hmm. And against TL, they're just fucked, I think. But, but when it comes down to it, like, the big takeaway from this, obviously, Clutch putting it together, doing really well. I think that it's a nice building block heading into their next year as Dignitas. I don't expect them to make it to Worlds. They either have to win the split, the playoffs here, or win the Gauntlet. Those are their 2 options. And when you have TL, Cloud9, CLG, I think one of those 3 teams should win each of those 2 tournaments. But we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, I mean, they've got to beat TL if they're going to win this tournament. If they beat TL, though, all bets are off at that point, right? Anybody who can beat TL can win.
Yeah. I mean, TL's really good here. They're really bad everywhere else. So, like, maybe it's time for TL to, I don't know, suck a little bit more here and let someone else go take the race. Because, like, they're still going to Worlds regardless if they win this split or not.
There's one scenario in which they can miss.
I don't foresee them losing the Gauntlet if it comes down to
right.
that.
That's and there's only one, like, these 4 teams, how they finish scenario in which TL also doesn't get the number 2 seed off points. There's one scenario.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fun.
Yeah, it involves, I think, so they have to get 4th, Cloud9 gets 2nd, and then you know, it doesn't matter CLG or I guess it would have to be Clutch winning. So I think it has to be Clutch, Cloud9, CLG, TL, and in that scenario, they're the end boss of the Gauntlet. That's the only scenario in which they could possibly not make Worlds. And then they have to lose to...
That sounds really fun and exciting, but also really unlikely.
Right, yeah. One scenario of, you know, like 16 or whatever it is. And then also...
I'm saying there's a chance.
Yeah, I'm saying there's a chance. But yeah, like, I mean, they're a great team. If Clutch can at least play well against them, then they've got a chance in the Gauntlet, though. Now, quick thing before we move on from that, though. TSM, like, obviously we've already been burning on them pretty fucking hard. These are the 2 straight IPAs. I knew that's what you're looking for. TSM, they've got now 2 weeks until the Gauntlet. Well, they've got 3 weeks of practice until Gauntlet starts, right? In 3 weeks, are they going to be able to get their shit together enough to actually put up a fight in the Gauntlet? Like, I think they can beat FlyQuest if they have to, but if you're talking Clutch and then Cloud9 or CLG, depending on who wins that matchup, like, do you think TSM can even fight any of those teams? Like, I think Clutch, they can probably get up to that level.
TSM is looking like a wounded, like, bunny rabbit right now. Like, I really don't know. Like, they have a couple weeks to, like, where they could mend their shit and get their shit together.
Yeah.
But with how the organization's been acting as a whole right now, I just don't know what to think. Like, they need to hire someone in to like come in and just slap them all in the face and be like, you guys are being dumb. Stop it. Just let him make the calls. You back off.
Hire someone to to handcuff Reggie to like the radiator against the wall in a room and just leave him there.
I like it.
Give him some gamer fuel.
Yeah, I like it.
Gamer fuel. All right, so let's move on then. The other semifinal was CLG versus Optic. And we predicted that to not be very close. We all had a lot of confidence in CLG. Heather and I saying 3-1 because I thought Optic with Meteos would be able to pull out a game. And you went with the 3-0, and you were right.
Also, one of those, like, I wanted to be different.
Yeah.
And it paid off.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, Optic should have won game 1. But what they are lacking as a team, what makes them worse than CLG as a team, is what caused them to throw game 1. They got 4 Barons. They got an Elder Drake. They had 4 Drakes when they had that Elder Drake. Like, they had everything, and yet Arrow got caught out. And then Arrow got caught out again, and then the game was over. Like, what the fuck?
Thank you for making me look really smart in my pick, but Jesus Christ, Optic looked really, really horrid.
Well, like, CLG didn't have a good draft in game 1, I don't think, because they had almost no good engage. I mean, game 1, CLG was rocking the Azir in mid, Silverbrom bot, Jace top, Rek'Sai jungle. You don't have tank there.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, Rek'Sai can be a little bit tanky, but...
She went damage early because she was doing really well early, or doing alright early. And then, like, later on when it's like, okay, I'm obviously not going to have an effect on the game as a damage dealer, got, like, Zonias and, you know, allowed herself to stasis and be better as a tank there where you just absorb shots but you're not taking them. But yeah, like, it was all based on Arrow. Thank you for fucking up.
That's what I chuckled for. Thanks, buddy.
Well, yeah, like, so Arrow gets, like, tagged by something by the fucking center base gate, the mid lane base gate, and he's got his support off to the side here. He's got, who is it? Fucking Bard. He's got Bard off in that brush towards red jungle, blue base side. And he fucking walks towards it, but he also walks, like, up towards the wall, which allows a Rek'Sai flash, knock up over it, and it's just like, well, you did.
Yeah.
Like, he got straight killed. And then the second time he got caught in mid lane, he, like, shifted away. Like, he got hit and he shifted away, but he didn't Zonias, so they just follow-up damaged and killed him. Like, he shifted, he flashed, did not Zonias, and died. It's just like, bro.
Well, I mean, he would have wasted the Zonias either way, like, unless he had somebody to back him up, which he
But it still, like, eats spells and wastes time.
Yeah.
And if you get out a Q on the backside, or maybe another shift, maybe you live. Like, I was just playing Ezreal and ARAM earlier, and I Zonias some shit, and I fucking got out of there, and I had no business getting. I was like, heal flash shift, like, I just got out of there, and, like, then I killed 2 people afterwards, because Ezreal pumps out fucking damage.
Yeah. That was just misplays all around by Arrow. Like, I feel like Arrow was the weakest link of these matches this weekend. Like, I mean, the rest of the team didn't look super great, but they were at least carrying... They were carrying Arrow's, like, 4 body pieces among the rest of them.
To be fair to Arrow, beginning of game 2, his Draven was great.
Oh, yeah.
He carried Optic early in game 2.
His laning phase was beautiful. Like, his laning phase was just so good. Like, he was just in there killing everything, getting everything pushed in. He was giving his jungle lots of ability to push in. And, like, they were looking really solid
But
that game.
In the meantime, Camille Ruin is just destroying Aatrox's butthole.
Yeah. There were a couple really close calls where that Camille could have taken down the Aatrox, but just got him away, like, with a sliver of health.
Right. I mean, when it comes down to it, CLG is just a very superior team to Optic.
And it's so crazy to think that. Like, I mean, they've pulled
for so long.
They pulled like a complete 180 this split, and like they've looked surprisingly good.
You're right. It's not even this year. It's this split. They ended 7th, 8th last split. They ended fucking 7 and 11. This split 12 and 6. They didn't get the 2nd seed by because they lost a tiebreaker, and granted, handily, but they also, like, they didn't play well, they didn't draft well, like, and you can't do that against, you know, one of the top teams. But it's the same way you can't, like, draft poorly and play poorly against a top team like CLG, because that's what we saw Optic do, and did not look good. Game 3, that Caitlyn getting stupid fed reminded me of Sneaky's Caitlyn getting stupid fed. It was just like, well, I'm going to win the game. Like, and we saw Arrow there. There's a point at which he didn't have the support with him. He's at, like, half health. The minions are going to die to turret, and he steps up because, like, he didn't get hit by the bind. He's like, well, binding's down. I'm going to step up and into the fucking Morgana pool, take some damage, but I'm going to get a couple minions. And Stixay's like, I've got a fucking BF sword, bro. Or he might have had eye edge. I think he had BF sword pickaxe at that point. But he steps forward and just like, poop shot, step forward, poop shot. Like, he just kites with him. He's like, you're dead. You're easily dead. And it's just like, Arrow, what were you thinking? Because that was on the back end of him teleporting to the turret where he immediately got hit by a binding and a Caitlyn Q. Like, no decision he made in Game 3 was right. Arrow was super tilted off the face of the earth.
He had to have been. Like, yeah. There's no other reason for what happened. It was a little sad to watch, honestly. Like, I mean, granted, I picked CLG to win that. Like, I'm really glad things went the way I wanted them to, but that was just a very lopsided game.
I feel like Arrow played in Game 3 the way Crown did in that last game against Cloud9, where it just went bad and got tilted and just played like shit going forward. And I don't think Crown played great in that series either against CLG. And I mean, I think once again, Dokla and Big were exposed as the weaknesses of the team. Now, Dokla is getting better, so I don't think you have to jettison him by any means, but I feel like you need a better support than Big, and maybe just a better bot lane in total. And it's funny because I know they have Gate on their bench, and I think Gate's good.
I wouldn't be surprised to see this being a team that gets gutted. Like, I bet somebody's going to offer Crown a little bit more money to see if he'll break his contract or potentially buy it out.
Well, yeah, you would have to buy it out because that's how a contracted sports works.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Otherwise, it's called poaching, and that's not allowed.
Fair enough. But yes, I wouldn't be surprised to see someone try to take over his contract. Like, I mean, I don't really know that they would allow it unless, like, they're really, like, throwing Crown a bone. But...
and Optic's not going to be Optic next year either.
Shit,
they're going to be Immortals.
Yep.
So that's the question, too. Like, you're coming in as a new name team, and a team that had a good name previously. Now, granted, it's, once again, not the same ownership. Jacob Wolf, no, whoever was there, who was an awesome kid. He was like, you know, rich kid or whatever, but he like used his money to start like an esports venture capitalism thing, and he very much ascribed to the Jack Etienne model, where it's like, I don't know things. I'm just gonna provide the money to make people happy so they do good, and he did.
Yeah.
But I would not be surprised, like you said, if this team just gets kind of gutted heading into next year. Even though they made playoffs, I think you hold on to Meteos.
I think they need to let Dardoch go. Like, Dardoch...
You sell Dardoch to get another piece. That's what you do.
Like, there's no reason Dardoch should be riding the Academy bench. Like, I mean, I haven't really been paying attention to Academy that much. I know that Golden Guardians Academy team has been rickety-recketing everything.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because now they have Keith down there too.
Yeah. It's just, did they end up winning the Academy?
Is it over?
I know they were playing like finals and whatnot.
I'll check on that while you.
But no, I think we're gonna see Optic get gutted. It makes sense. It seems like a good choice money wise. I mean, you've got good players riding your bench that don't deserve to be there. Like, they could go to a different team. Like, I mean, I would like to see Dardoch maybe go to Guardians, maybe go, I don't know, who else, where could he go?
I mean, there's places for Dardoch to go. I mean, honestly, even somebody like Clutch, if they think he would fit.
Clutch, yeah.
Because we've talked, you'd have 3 people from Echo Fox.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm more wearing this in solidarity, like, with Rick Fox and all the shit that kind of happened.
Right.
Like, plus, like, now it's, like, all kind of, like, retired gear.
Yeah.
Like, I feel bad for the guy, but yeah. Like, I mean, I was an Echo Fox fan. Like, I liked them in their, I guess, heyday. Like, they weren't around for very long in the league world, but...
If I'm looking at the right season, that's got to be last season. Yeah, it's got to be. I'll keep looking. But yeah, I think Optic, you keep you keep Meteos, you sell Dardoch to get another piece. I think you sell him to try and get a good AD carry, but I don't know, and or support. Like, you try to get a good bot lane somehow, and like, I mean, when you're talking, you've got Meteos. probably hold on to Crown, maybe see if you can turn him around. So that's only one import slot.
Crown would be a big payday. Like they could sell Dardoch and Crown, and they could get a real good bot lane possibly.
Maybe. I mean, the question is though, then what do you get mid lane too?
Fair enough.
So, and I think you actually hold on to Dokla as much as I've hated on Dokla, and I've seen Dokla like mess things up. I think he's improving, and I think you don't have anything better right now, so you hold on to that. I think you try to replace the entirety of your bot lane, and if you're just using Gate from your academy team, then like no harm there. That's even easier, right? So that's what I would expect they would go with. All right, I've got the playoffs here for academy. Results. Results are, oh wow, yeah. 100 Thieves Academy beat Cloud9 Academy. Golden Guardians Academy beat TSM Academy, and they have not played the finals yet.
Okay. So, quarters, semis, right?
That's actual finals.
Oh, that's actual finals.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be Golden Guardians, 100 Thieves Academies. Those are
it.
playing. But yeah, so let's we talked about Optic there a good bit, but we haven't talked about CLG real long and hard. I mean, that team's looked really good here. Now, granted, against a weaker opponent, I think that's not terribly difficult. But, I mean, you got to give them credit where credit's due. And they looked good. Power of Evil looked good. Ruin looked good. Wiggly played well. Stixay and Biofrost played well. Like, nobody on that team sucked. Like, at any point, really. They all, like, they didn't have a good game one, even though they ended up winning it, and I think that had a lot to do with the draft. Like, they just drafted poorly where they didn't have any good tanky engage. They had no real tankiness, and they didn't have a lot of engagement. It was against a poke comp. And so it's like, well, if you can't find a way to get on them, they will damage the shit out of you. And they drafted better in games, 2 and 3. What you looking for, Chief?
Where is the, like, all of the player stats, like the Lolly Sports site had? Is it had, or do they still have it?
Player stats?
Yeah, like, they used to, like, have, like, kind of, like, a breakdown of, like, where everyone was, kind of, like, ranked. Like, not, like, hard ranked, but...
yeah, I use other websites, because other websites are way better.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's actually move on. We'll come back, and we'll talk about next week's semifinals. But yeah, let's talk about best players in their roles. Because, unfortunately, already before we've talked about it, the actual All-Pro 1, 2, and 3 teams were announced.
Oh, shit, really?
Yeah, they were announced, but let's talk about ours a bit beforehand. So let's just start with top lane. For me, top lane, I put Impact first, because while he hasn't been, like, popping off, he also hasn't had any bad games. Licorice did have a few poor games, I felt like, but he's also popped off really hard. And Ruin's been a lot this way and that way. For me, honorable mention, Huni, because he came on late really, really hard.
He looks so good in some of these last few games.
He's been great for about the back half of the split, but he looked really bad in some of the first half, so I couldn't put him in my top 3. And I also think Hanser has been very good this split. He's probably been the redemption for me, or one of the biggest redemption stories for me is Hanser this split, but at the same time, he's had some really rough games. His Tristana in week 9 really fucked them. But yeah, so I went Impact, Licorice, and Ruin for my top laners.
I was doing, I don't know if I had Ruin up there. I did Impact, Hanser, and what's his name?
Impact.
Licorice.
Oh, Licorice, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a website, I don't remember. This is an easy one for you to look at all the lanes, but I don't remember what it is. I had it up earlier today. Just Google LCS stats. They'll get you to one of them. I think Oracle's Elixir is one of them, but you'll have to like sort it a little. Just sort it by games played. That'll be the easiest way. Because otherwise you end up with a bunch of people who didn't play like any games. You can go by position. Once you're on Summer Split. Yeah. Summer Split season. Cool. Yeah. We'll get Chase up to speed here. Even though I told you this was gonna fucking happen in this episode.
Oh yeah.
Well, no, that's teams.
God damn it. Okay, player
stats. There you go. It's alright. I didn't really put mine together like all the way until last night, today. Yeah, and just sort by games played. Cool. And you can go position there to filter it down to... So let's go to jungle next then. So for me, jungle... number 1 jungle was super easy for me. It's Sven Skaren. Like, he hasn't played every game, but he's been so ridiculously good, and his bad games were only, like, bad. It seems like everybody else was losing, and he was trying to keep them together generally. I went ahead and put Wiggly as my number 2, and I put Meteos as my number 3, because I feel like, as good as Xsmithy is, I don't feel like he's been playing well. I feel like the rest of the team's so good that he just kind of shows up. And that's probably not fair to Jake, Xsmithy, but that's just kind of, like, I wanted to give respect to Wiggly and Meteos and what they've been doing this split, because I feel like they've been putting some serious fucking work in.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Xsmithy, Svenskeren, and Acadian. Like, I know Acadian kind of had, like, a rough go, but I don't necessarily think it's his fault.
You think he's the 3rd best jungler, though?
I think that the way TSM is making him play is not true to how he can play.
Right, but I mean, you have to go off what they did.
I mean, if we're going to go straight up by, like, win percentages...
No, I'm not saying win percentage, but the way he actually played. Now, like, I get what you're saying. Like, oh, if he played aggressive like he wants to every game, whereas, like, there were some games where he didn't play aggressive because that's TSM, but, like, he still played that game, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if you want to go with Acadian, do I put him as number 3 last split. And you did not get, like, any votes. My honorable mentions were Xsmithy, which I feel like, yeah, I probably, like, underrated him to put him not in the top 3, but then I get Amazing, because I feel like Amazing affected that team so much to get them to almost playoffs.
Yeah, okay.
But we both had Svenskeren, and then you had Xsmithy, well, and you said Acadian, so.
Yeah.
Okay. So Svenskeren was the obvious.
No,
like,
I think Wiggly deserves it more. I'm gonna give Wiggly, like, he should be number 3, but he's gonna get honorable mention number 4.
Okay, and I struggled between Wiggly and Meteos. Like, I thought they both played real well and whatnot.
Meteos has looked good.
He's also had some bad ones.
Yeah, and I feel like him looking bad isn't so much like his coach telling him, like, you play this champ, whereas, like, I feel like that's where Acadian's sitting at. Like, Acadian's like, I want to play this. Nope, bitch, play Sejuani.
Yeah, I can feel that. All right, let's go to the mid lane then. I'll let you go first on that one. Because mid lane's, I feel like it's a weird one.
I'm putting Froggen in as my number 3. Cause
I struggled with my number 3. I almost put Froggen. He's in my honorable mention.
Froggen's so, like, when he pops off so disgusting. Mm-hmm. And I don't think he's ever really, like, the reason why they're losing. I'm going to put DeMonte as my honorable mention for number 4.
He's also, I have Froggen and DeMonte as my honorable mentions because I feel like they both did really well, but they also had way too many games where they underperformed. Mm-hmm. With DeMonte, it's because all of Clutch did.
I'm going to give Niski my number 1, and I'm going to give Jensen my number 2.
I went Niski, Jensen, and I gave Power of Evil my number 3 slot, actually.
Okay. No, okay, that...
And I struggled hard. No, I struggled really hard, number 3. I felt like Power of Evil, Froggen, and DeMonte were all really close. I dug into stats pretty hard to, like, make my final decision there. And Power of Evil... The stats were better than he appeared, like, just in my memory of matches, and so that's how I ended up. And honestly, and part of it was, when I went to the next level, when I was looking at 80 carry stats as well, the CLG bot lane, like, Stixay, statistically, was not the one carrying that team. It was Ruin. Ruin was a lot up and down, and he had, like... And I ended up giving him my number 3. Like, he was just very aggressive. He had a lot of deaths, but he had a lot of kills. The one person who was, like, consistently ahead, KDA, Gold, etc., in that team was actually Power of Evil. And then Wiggly.
Okay.
It was Power of Evil and Wiggly, so that's why I gave him my 3rd spot. But I don't think saying Froggen or DeMonte or, you know, whatever, like, those aren't bad choices there at all.
Yeah.
So let's go into 80 carries. I'll start mine. Double Lift first. I just don't think he's had a bad game all split, really. Like... The team's lost, but he didn't suck.
Double Lift is, like, in his, like, prime right now. Like, he's been around for a minute.
I thought he was in his prime, like, 3 years ago.
And he's done nothing but, like, get better and better and better. Like, it's going to be a really sad day, like, when he hits his, like, tail end and his bell curve. But he is looking so disgustingly good.
So you're agreeing with that number 1 Double Lift?
Absolutely.
My number 2, I went with Cody-san.
I was going to give Cody-san my number 3.
Like, I know they had a rough beginning of the split, but I just feel like Cody-san's been disgusting. And he's been so disgusting in the back half of the split.
Coming from, like, not on a team to benched to, like,
he played
underappreciated to like looking okay, looking good, looking pretty darn good. Like no, Cody sounds like the Cinderella story of this split in my eyes.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Yeah, like, and I always thought he was a good player. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Like, I think he's really good. He's just underappreciated because he's been on bad teams, or, you know, teams that fuck shit up, 100 Thieves. But, like, really...
But Riccara.
All these other players...
Riccara is my honorable mention.
There you go. When, like, I'm looking at these players, I'm like, oh, well, they had some bad games, and usually that drops them down to honorable mentions. The difference between Cody-san and those players is their good games are good. Cody-san's good games are insane. Yeah. And the back half of his split is ridiculous. 5 games, no deaths.
9.
Well, the back half of this split, because this is a regular season award,
okay.
So I'm not going to include their series. But yeah, he went 5 games, no deaths, and they went 4-1 over that set.
Yeah.
Like, only losing to CLG, a playoff team, you know, at the time, number 2 team. Like, yeah, fucking ridiculous. Like, Cody-san, coaching staff, DeMonte and Huni turned that team around entirely all of a sudden in the middle of the split. And so I gave Cody-san number 2. Number 3, I surprised myself with. Because I was like, trying to decide, I'm like, my gut feelings it's Stixay.
Big Stixay.
Yeah, and I was like, I'll probably go, like, honorable mention Bang, like, you know, what. I'm like, I'll check stats, I'll see. I was looking through stats and stats and stats. And I ended up on Sneaky.
That's a solid pick. Like, I mean... Sneaky's never like I don't think he's like under top 3, but I hate be like gonna give it to TSM Cloud9. I mean this year it's like
right.
TL Cloud9 CLG. It's just like I want there to be a little bit of like fluctuation. Like
I've got Cody in number 2.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, I totally thought it'd be Stixay because like especially we talked like Sneaky seemed like he had a bit of a rough year. Like, there were games where he seemed like he was really underperforming.
Down, yeah.
And I was looking through stats, and Stixay was, like, middle to bottom 3rd in most of the stat categories, and Sneaky was, like, top 3rd in most of the stat categories. Like, Sneaky's KDA is fantastic. Sneaky's damage percentage is fantastic. Like, that's the one I didn't expect. I was like, oh, his damage percentage is going to be low. Like, he didn't die as much as you think, but, like, he didn't do a lot. No, he did what he does. He survives till mid-game, and then he fucking puts out all the damage for his team. Like, he does not a lot early, and then mid-late game, like, all of a sudden he's, like, the one who's, like, pumping out the damage. He's doing what an AD carry's supposed to do in mid and late game. Now, he's not carrying early. He's not double lift. And the reason I have Bang and Stixay in my honorable mention, Stixay, I think, like, the way he played was helpful to that team, and part of the reason they are where they are. Bang, his stats were also really good. Like, despite what that team went through, Bang was a huge portion of that team, damage-wise. You know, leads in the bot lane and stuff. Like, he should have been way further behind than he was, kind of stuff. Like, I was looking at stats, I'm like, how are they this decent to good? But yeah, Sneaky, I think it ends up, for me, putting as number 3 is a testament to me of how good Sneaky actually is. Because in a year where I think he looked really questionable at times, I look back on the stats and I'm like, fuck, he crushed it. Yeah. Like, what the hell?
Bang's another person that needs to be gutted from 100 Thieves. They don't deserve him.
They don't. They don't at all.
Like, they're doing him.
Where would you like to see Bang go to?
Oh god, in an ideal world, I'd see them on Guardians, but...
I could get behind him. FBI looked good, so I wouldn't rush to that.
Like, I know.
Because honestly, FBI, I consider giving him honorable mention too, because he had some good stats, but I feel like he wasn't in long enough for me to really feel confident in that.
Yeah. No, I think. I mean, I just want him to come to my team because, like, I think he plays well. I think he's got a shitty team around him.
Yeah, I think him and fuck, it's not what did. Who's it? Who's the support there? Ole. Him and Ole would play well.
Oh yeah, I mean Ole's not bad.
Ole is still starting for them, right? Right?
He was. I think they pulled him out for a minute.
Okay, right at the end maybe. I don't remember now. It's been too. Who he?
Oh yeah, Ole hasn't been on Guardian since spring.
Well, no, he's on the academy team. Isn't that they brought Huhi in to play? Who's Huhi playing for? Because they got who got brought on for somebody as a support, and he's playing super good.
Well, let me check this page.
Like, my brain just super farted.
Ole, still on Guardians.
Yeah, and
yes.
Huhi.
And Huhi, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it's Guardians who subbed in Huhi as support.
Oh yeah,
because when they brought in
FBI and Huhi came in together as a package.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so, and speaking of supports, let's go down there. Core JJ's top. It's quiet,
really
but God, he's so fucking good.
Yeah, it'd be really hard to say that he wasn't the best.
And I feel like Biofrost is what was doing so well in CLG's bot lane, so I gave him second, and I gave Zazel third.
Okay. I actually agree with that very much. I wanted to give Vulcan kind of like an honorable like fifth. Like,
right, I didn't give him an honorable mention because my only honorable mention went to Huhi actually.
Okay.
Because I think bringing Huhi in on Golden Guardians, like I don't dislike Ole or anything, and I think FBI also had quite a bit to do with it. But I think Huhi surprised me a lot.
Considering like the last time we saw him play, it wasn't very good. Like it's nice to see him back in like a little bit better form.
He went from being a washed up mid laner to like actually a really, really worthwhile support.
Yep, I'm digging it. I can get behind it. I want to also throw in a category of you should retire out to my boy Moo.
Afro, yeah.
Your options are retire or go hang out on Cloud9's bench. You don't
right,
you don't deserve your starting spot.
All right, so coach of the year, coach of the split. I mean.
Oh God, I don't even know all the coaches' names.
No, you could just say the team then, because I had to do research on it.
CLG 100%.
So that'd be Weldon. Weldon's more of a attitude coach stuff. Like, he's head coach, but yeah. So CLG's coaching staff. I agree. I think that's a huge one. I ended up giving it to Think Card from Clutch, but that was only because... So he came in the middle of the split for them, which is when I felt like they really turned shit on.
No, yeah. I was going to give CLG for, like, going from garbage last split to, like, top 3 right now.
Yeah.
For sure. Clutch as well, considering like they went from a rough beginning of the split to like they turned it around.
Yeah.
And
I should say the coach of the split hasn't been revealed yet. We don't know that.
And then I don't know. I don't really.
I think those two. Actually, before I move on, let's go ahead. So the first, second, third teams that were actually revealed. First team is Impact, Svenskeren, Jensen, Doublelift, Core JJ. So it's Team Liquid plus Svenskeren. I don't think you and I fully agree with it. Like we agreed with top and then bot lane, and we also agree with the. No, I think you had somebody else first in jungle than Svenskeren. I think you put Xfinity first actually.
Yeah.
And then we both put Niski first in mid, and honestly, I still feel that's the right choice.
Yeah.
But second team, Licorice, Xmithy, Niski, Stixay, Biofrost. So we mostly agreed with that as well. I think the big difference being Stixay, I don't think you had him at second either. I think you had him third. Something. Like, but yeah. And I didn't even have him in my top 3. And then third being Ruin, Wiggly, Bjergsen, Cody-san, Zazel. And that's the one... No, neither of us even had Bjergsen in our like set. I didn't have him in my top 3. I didn't even have him in my honorable mention.
Because he's not been bad by any means, but he's just been kind of quietly there.
Yeah, I mean, like when I was looking, I looked through stats because I was trying to decide who my third was, and the stats weren't even there to put him over Power of Evil, like in third. And then I gave my honorable to Froggen and Demonte because I think like Froggen's stats were actually pretty good too. Demonte was the back half of the split thing that his stats were good or better. Like Bjergsen could have been like 4th, 5th, but I don't know. I think it's a lot of name recognition that Bjergsen's still number 3. Because when it comes down to it, like 4 weeks ago I would have said yeah, but you know, everything that's happened since then, Bjergsen's just kind of faded.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, to be fair, when your team is like crumbling around you, I feel like it's got to be really hard. Like when you're like a football team or a soccer team or something like that, where you've got like 20 to 30 other people around you at all times, like one person usually isn't contributing that much.
Right.
But when
this
you're
is basketball.
Yeah, when you're basketball, like this is like the basketball of
this is Jordan, this is LeBron, one dude.
Yeah. Like when you only got 5 people out on the field, like they all need to be good, and I feel like he's not been bad, but he's been barely there.
Right. And, like, as much as TSM has struggled, and, like, Alan saying in the chat, like, I feel it's more TSM sucks, Bjergsen can't 1v9, but at the same time, a lot of their wins have been keyed off of Broken Blade being disgusting in the top lane some games. Acadian, when he played well, they got wins just off of what he affected. We've seen Sven do well sometimes. Bjergsen, yes, he's had some good games, but I don't think he's been better than their other players who have done well. Which is not a top 3 player, because you don't see... The only other TSM player I could have made an argument to be in the top 3 was Sven. He had okay stats, actually. But I feel like he cost them too much in his bad games to be to be a top 3.
Sure.
And so, like, I'm not gonna... Like, nobody's putting Broken Blade as a top 3 top laner. We're putting in Ruin, who has kind of middling stats, but he's been such a fulcrum for that team to be good. You know, things like... We're not putting Acadian up there. We're not putting Smoothie in top 3, even though Zazel's been super quiet this split. Like, it's not bad, but he's been quiet. Like, so to automatically feel like Bjergsen belongs top 3 feels so fucking weird to me. And, like, I didn't break down the stats of the votes to see, like, who was 4 and 5, etc. Like, I know Medios, I think, was number 4 in the jungler voting, and I get that. Like, Svenskeren and Smithy Wiggly, then Medios, totally makes sense. But, yeah. So let's then go, so coaches, I think CLG will probably get it. Like, I think he'll go to Weldon. That makes the most sense. I just really liked Thinkguard as coach of the split just because of he came in the fucking middle, and that's when they really surged, and that team seemed to click. Like, all of a sudden, they were playing around their carry, like, all 3 of their fucking carries that they have, and doing it so well. And I feel like a lot of that had to do with whatever they are doing as coaches. So, rookie of the split. I was looking into it, and, like, so I know generally...
That's funny.
They don't let...
sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, Thinkguard also came from Fox, like, with half the other team to clutch.
Although he didn't come until later.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Well, and actually, that would explain, though, part of the reason he's so good with Huni and DeMonte.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That lines up with, like, Huni and DeMonte were looking pretty so-so until Thinkguard came back and, like, he kicked him in the ass or something.
Lyra's played
Huni
well.
snacks or something.
Yeah, Huni snacks. It's like Ski snacks. Like, Lyra's played well just here recently, but I do think the next step for this team is to really see if they can get Dardoch off of Optic and put him in. Because if you can go that Echo Fox top 3 plus Cody Sun Vulcan bottom...
I'll split my allegiances to Dignitas and Golden Guardians if that happens.
And actually, you know what the craziest thing, if you brought that roster in, is you could still replace Vulcan with an import if you really wanted to. Because Huni's your only import in that team.
Be a good spot for Bang, possibly?
No, support.
Oh, support, sorry.
Yeah, because Cody's he's Chinese nationality, or like ethnicity, but he's American.
God damn, I'm racist.
Yeah, well, I mean, his actual name is Cody's son.
Yeah.
Also, DeMonte, actual name, DeMonte, last name. But yeah, so you've got Huni as an import, Lyra is an import for them right now, but if they replace him with Dardoch, then you would be, only import top, Dardoch, DeMonte, and Cody Sun, all American NA.
We'll get the holy trinity of Echo Fox back.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know what, support you'd bring in, whatever. If you even would want to, I think Vulcan's doing well, and he's just going to keep getting better.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think that's the next move for that team. So, rookie, though, I was looking through, and I know, I'm pretty sure they don't allow players who played in another major region to be rookie of the split anymore.
So Wadid's out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, he played in LEC previously anyway. But yeah, I think...
Oh, true rookie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it has to be of this split, too. That's the thing, too. It used to be LEC and NA, or EU NA, they wouldn't let those count as rookies, but now it's even if you played in, even I think the minor regions. So I think, Broken Blade's not eligible, or he wasn't eligible last split because he's from Turkey. So I think one of the only actual available votes is Fake God, and I think that's perfectly reasonable to give it to him if he is one of the only ones. I can't think off the top of my head who would be a better rookie of the split vote. Do you have something like pops off the top of your head? Because I can't.
I don't even know.
Because like I would think like
now.
Ruin, but Ruin's not a rookie. Like he played in another major region before, so I wouldn't go with Ruin. Like I think it has to fall to someone like Fake God. I just don't think there's that. Unless you're gonna give it to like Kuma, like most of these players only played 2. And actually, Fake God, it's funny. He played 2 games last split, but the rule is you have to have had played 3 to not be a rookie anymore. So I think it probably ends up going to Fake God, but I'm not sure. We'll see when like the voting comes out who's even like considered. Because I was trying to like find that and I couldn't anywhere. So I was trying to do the research myself, and that was just a pain in the ass. I don't know. Here, this one's IPA. Drink that one. Because I don't want that one.
Cool.
Yeah, so... Alright, let's move on then. Last one here. MVP, most valuable player. Who do you think... And also, when you go ahead and make your decision, there's the discussion of what does MVP mean? Does it mean it's just the best player in the league? Or does it mean it's the player who most affected the outcomes of their team? Because those are 2 very different definitions. Because, I mean, if you're saying, oh, most affected the outcome, at that point, like if you go... if you put the teams, the all-pro teams, as opposed to being like, oh, are they just the best of their position, or how they affected their team, all of a sudden I say, like, the, like, winner, the top 3 teams or whatever, all of a sudden, like, Amazing's on there, and Meteos is definitely on there. Because I feel like those 2, like, for jungle, definitely affected their teams more than a lot of other junglers.
Okay.
Like, Xmithy at that point, I'm like, yeah, no, you could swap out Xmithy and Liquid's still gonna win, kind of thing. Like, and that's... feels rude though. Like I feel like you have to have a combination of like how do you affect your team and how good you are. Because if you end up with an all-star team like TL, it feels like you could probably swap out almost any of those, like one of those positions with another good player, and they would still win. But I don't know. So mine goes to, and I mean I've been talking about it the last couple weeks. I think it's Svenskeren. Like as good as Cloud9 is, we've seen games where Svenskeren didn't play. And there's a noticeable difference. Even when they won with Blabber, like, the difference between a win with Blabber and a win with Svenskeren was a win versus a dominating win, generally speaking. Like, Svenskeren affected the whole map. He controlled the map. He would get any lane he wanted to ahead. It just depended on where he was going. And a lot of the times, he shut down the opposing jungler. So, mine went to Svenskeren, but I think there's a lot of other arguments that can be made for who's MVP of this split.
I don't even know where to begin. I kind of want to say mid lane Huni if he would have won that game. But...
Huni the last, like, if you could just save the last 3 games of the season, then yes, Huni. Absolutely Huni. Actually, you'd probably still go Cody-san, because it'd be like, so Cody-san didn't die for the whole season.
I actually really do want to give it to Cody-san. Like, I mean, I know he's not spectacular, but he's pretty damn good. And, like, he's looking really good right now.
I think he deserves votes. Like, I don't think you're wrong there. Like, when I say deserves votes, I mean, I think that is who's in the running. Like, you have to get votes, obviously, to be in the running. But yeah, so you think Cody-san is where you lean with that one, or are you not quite sure?
It's going to go to, like, Double Lift or Core JJ. It's going to go to someone ridiculous. Like, it's going to go who do you expect it to go. Like, I'm just trying to vote, like, where I think, like, some homages do. Like, some of these people, they deserve a little bit more than what they've been given.
Well, so, to go from what, like, we are voting to what we think it'll be, these are the 10 finalists right now. So they're the top 10 vote getters, right? And, you know, you voted, like, several down the list kind of thing. So the top 10 are almost all of TL, Impact, Xmithy, Core JJ, and Double Lift. So actually Jensen did not get top 10 voting for MVP, which I totally agree with. And then I wonder how the fuck he got top mid laner. Because it's like, But, I mean, that's also has to do with, well, like I said, what's your definition of MVP? If it's how much you affect your team, then I think Jensen's the least effective player on TL.
Yeah.
Probably. At least this split. In the last split, he was much better, I think. So anyway, you have those 4 TL players. You get 2 from CLG, Biofrost and Wiggly.
I like it.
Yep. I think Ruin's probably just outside this top 10 as well, honestly. 2 from Cloud9, Niski and Svenskeren. I think that's the best 2 from that team for it as well. You get Crown from Optic, and Froggen from Golden Guardians.
Fuck yeah.
And I think Froggen is a very worthy player of that second concept of what is MVP. If you're just saying
top lane?
If you just say, oh, best player in the league, no, Froggen's not best player in the league. If you say biggest effect on his team winning, Froggen is definitely one of those players.
I can lean into Froggen. I like that. Like, I mean, he's on my team. He's a good player. I thought I saw blue there, so I was pretty excited when you said it.
The bright blue. Funny side note, now that you mentioned it, the only player of those top 10 that's not a blue team is Crown with Optic. Golden Guardians, TL, CLG, Cloud9, all blue teams.
TL's black.
No, they're blue and white.
No.
CLG's black and blue.
No, TL's black. Sorry. It's just how the...
They don't even have black on their jersey, bro.
Really?
Yeah. It's blue and white.
Are you talking about their new, like, Captain America shit?
No, I'm talking about their legitimate normal jersey. Their kits are blue and white. But anyway, I think, like, out of those ones that are the finalists, I think it's likely to be Svenskeren, Core JJ, and then maybe Double Lift. Those are who I see being the top 3. I think Svenskeren and Core JJ are like the 2 real arguments for it. If you're going the most effect on his team, I think you go with Svenskeren. If you go with just the best player, I think it's Core JJ. Because, like,
yeah.
I don't think anybody else is Core JJ when it comes down to it.
Like, it's really
just Google image.
Oh, I'm sure I'm wrong. I just, like,
okay.
Their logo's black, and so, like, It's
blue. It might be black on that kit, but it's actually blue.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so I think it comes down to those 2. Let's go ahead and move on to semifinals. So, we've got TL gets to choose, and they chose Clutch, because are you going to choose CLG? No, you're not fucking stupid. Like, I think the only way Cloud9 didn't have to face CLG was if CLG lost to Optic, and then TL would be like, Optic or TSM Clutch. It would depend on how that series went. Then it's a toss-up. But no, it's like CLG, the other 3 teams that were in quarterfinals.
Yeah, I feel like Clutch is the right move for them. Like, I feel like Liquid is just going to spank the shit out of them. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if this is a 3-0.
That's where I'm leaning.
Like, I'd like to see it be like a 3-1, 3-2, because I'd like to see someone, like, make Liquid look a little bit more silly, but I just don't see it happening.
So what's your actual pick for this
I'm just going to go 3-0. Like, I'm going to go straight up. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going 3-0 as well. I just, I don't see Clutch pulling games off of TL. Just mostly because of how we saw Game 4 go, actually, more than anything. Because that one was close, and it feels like any competent team should at least be able to be in that close range with Clutch. And TL's more than competent. So unless there's a bad draft and some other shit goes wrong, I think TL will be able to stretch out any game personally.
Sure.
So
the team looked like so good at just like, oh, you made a mistake, punished, and then we've won. And
yeah.
So Clutch is good, but they're gonna make a mistake.
I won't be shocked if they take a game.
8,
if
9,
they get a game, cool. If it goes to 5, well done, Clutch. If you win, that's like TL beating IG. Like, that shouldn't fucking happen, but it did, and it'll happen because the team deserved it, not because the other team imploded. You know? Yeah. So I have 3-0 there. Yeah, I don't think TL's been like. It's funny. I don't feel like they're as dominant as the caster desk seems to like talk about them. I think they're very good, obviously, but I don't think they're not an impenetrable team by any means. I think a team that plays aggressively and plays around what they need to will do fine. Like, TL, it seems to be the most solid team, not the most formidable, I guess, if that's it. Like, I'm afraid of other teams because of how aggressive they can be. I'm afraid of TL because just like, okay, well, there's brick wall, and this is going to be rough to push through.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So then let's go the other matchup, being Cloud9 versus CLG. That's the game on Saturday. That's the fucking game of the week. This is the game of the year right now. A fucking 5-game series between Cloud9 and CLG. Shit.
So, I'm going to probably do the opposite of you here. I'm going to go 3-1 CLG.
3-1?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm probably going to be wrong, and I'm okay if I am, but if I'm not, I'm going to look like a fucking genius.
So are you doing it just to hopefully look like a genius? Is that what's going on?
I think Cloud9 has the better chance, but I also know that CLG has been riding such this like streak. Like, they've got to be feeling good as a team, and when you feel good as a team, you usually play good as a team, or play well if you want to get into.
No, I'm not an asshole. I think CLG, like the last 3 weeks.
I'd like to see this go to 5, and it might.
My prediction is that it will.
Okay.
I've got a 3-2 Cloud9. Because, I mean, I see, like, CLG, they are riding that, like, good end of the season for the most part. They went FlyQuest, Cloud9 win, Clutch, Fox win, Optic win, but then they lost 100 Thieves. And they lost the tiebreaker to Cloud9. And the tiebreaker to Cloud9 was not close. Now, granted, I think that had to do a lot with their draft and just, like, individual plays in that game. I think what they did against Optic was way better. So they've got that, swing back up. Just the play against Optic. We survived a game we should not have won. And then we crushed them in games 2 and 3.
Yeah, I fully expect to see Cloud9 take the series,
right.
But, like, I wanna.
So you go all the way to a 3-1 the other way.
Well, I got lucky with my 3-0 this last week. Like,
yeah, I think the 2-3 was the more lucky one because that was before we knew rosters.
Fair enough.
Or subs anyway. But I mean, Cloud9, like, talking the same thing. Over that same period of time, Cloud9 beat 100 Thieves, lost to CLG, lost to FlyQuest, but then they beat TL, they beat Golden Guardians, they beat Optic, and then they beat Clutch. CLG in that tiebreaker. Like, granted, not super high-profile wins, but, like, Optic was a playoff team, Golden Guardians partially knocked out of playoffs because of that Cloud9 win, TL is the #1 seed, and they were not fucking floating. They weren't not resting on their laurels yet in week 8 because they had not secured a bye. They had just secured playoffs. And the loss to CLG was revenged by the tiebreaker win over CLG. Oh, and like I said, they beat 100 Thieves before that. And actually, the game before that went over TSM, right as TSM was, like, still okay. Like, that was right before. Oh no, it was a whole week before they got rid of Acadian. That was the week they announced Acadian's our guy. Fucking TSM. You know what? A quick cycle back to TSM. We're no longer just disappointed in TSM. We're mad. We're mad TSM.
I'm frustrated. Agitated.
Like, we're past disappointed though. All these times it's been, oh, we're not mad, we're not angry, TSM, we're just disappointed. We're past disappointed. Like, they went full, as you said, hey, 100 Thieves, hold my beer. You think you can mismanage a team? Watch this.
No shit.
As they, like, redneck backflip off their roof onto a picnic table, WWE style.
So, apparently Liquid's got a new Spider-Man jersey coming out for their next
That'll
stage.
be for the semifinals, I guess?
It looks that way, because, like, I mean, they announced all these other ones, like the Iron Man one.
I think they played in the They played these.
Yeah, they've played in these 3.
Oh, have they played in that one? The Iron Man one?
Yeah, because like they announced them all at the same time. But the Spider-Man, that's a new one.
Okay, so I guess that's their semifinal kit.
It's looking pretty
If
dope.
you lose his Spider-Man, though, what does that say about Spider-Man compared to the other Avengers that they had?
Well, I mean, he did get snapped away for a while, so...
Yeah, but he's still alive.
Fair enough.
So, alright, so you've got CLG, we both have TL, we'll get Heather's picks as well. Any last thoughts heading into this semifinal?
I'm excited. I'm hoping we get 5 matches total. That's not possible. 6 matches total. I don't know how that works.
So you want it to be like stomps?
It would be...
I want a Cloud9 TL final, just because I think both of those teams deserve to go to Worlds for sure, and I believe CLG will be able to take any comers in the gauntlet. Also, to echo a comment I saw on Reddit, it'll be weird if Cloud9's not at the 5th annual Cloud9 Invitational. Because the Gauntlet was instituted back in Season 4, and Cloud9 has been in and won all 4 of them so far. This is the 5th one.
That'd be really funny.
So if they're not in it, it'll be really weird if Cloud9's not the Cloud9 Invitational.
Fun stuff.
But I mean, I think you and I both stand saying, like, unless Clutch is able to take down TL, then I'll question what the best 3 teams are, and I'll say maybe we have a best 4. But as it stands right now, I think we have a best 3 teams, and we all want to see those 3 teams go to Worlds, right?
Yeah. Their jersey's not even as good as the other ones. It doesn't have the Avengers logo on it.
Yeah, it's also kind of ugly.
Sorry.
Like, just get a Spider-Man t-shirt, bro. But yeah, so, I mean, those 3, that's who we want to see move on overall.
Absolutely.
I mean, if CLG beats Cloud9, I'm trying to think how those points round out. I don't remember. I think Cloud9 can still actually... Yeah, if TL wins and Cloud9 were to get 3rd place, then Cloud9 would still go on points, I believe. So, it's not do or die for them to avoid the Gauntlet. And every team who's still in it is going to the Gauntlet or making it out.
Mm-hmm.
We've got TSM and FlyQuest waiting down there. FlyQuest with 40 points, TSM with 90 points. The remaining positions give out, I believe, 40,
Well, and they just
40,
redid
70,
the
100.
points, right? They just fixed it so
Yeah.
Team 2 like gets 100 instead of 90 or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. Team 2 gets 100. So it's
What was the reasoning behind that?
because
it feels like a very arbitrary
so
thing.
last split they didn't have a 3rd place match. So
Okay.
3rd/4th each got 40 points.
Aha.
So this split, in last split, Cloud9 got 3rd/4th along with FlyQuest. And let's be honest, we all knew Cloud9 was the better team then. Like, could have they lost to best of 5? Yeah, who knows. But they were the better team. So, Cloud9 was 3rd/4th. Had they gotten 3rd/4th, then 2nd this split, they would have fewer points, even though 2nd split's weighted heavier, or, you know, it's more important they get more points. 3rd, then 2nd, or 3rd/4th, then 2nd, Cloud9 would have had fewer points than 2nd, then 3rd TSM. And that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Because the whole idea is that the summer split should matter a little more. So it's like, hey, you guys basically did the same thing, and you were better this split. You're worse! I'm sorry, what? Do you math? And so that's why they had to adjust it all of a sudden quickly. Because this split, we are getting a 3rd and 4th place match because they decided, you know what, yeah, we should have it. And I agree, we should. And yeah, like, so now it's like going to be 100 points for 1st, 70 for 2nd, 40 for 3rd, I believe. Or, I'm sorry, so 2nd, 3rd, 4th, but 170, 40. So that'll also determine, you know, where everybody ends up. The fact that the lowest you can end up with is 40 points means that FlyQuest is locked in to be number 4 in the Gauntlet. Of course, there's structurally no difference between 3rd and 4th other than who gets the 5th game side selection, like who gets 1st, 3rd, 5th. So that's the only difference there. But yeah, so it'll be FlyQuest plus whoever gets 4th most likely, because, I mean, unless it's Cloud9, you don't have a lot of points saved up. So,
Sure.
yeah, it'll go from there. But we'll know that next week. We'll have basically everything shooken out. We'll know, you know, depending on the final, what all the results are, because there'll only be 2 possibilities. Yay. But yeah, we'll see you then. We'll have Heather back, and until then,
I can go retire my Fox gear and
re-retire it.
yeah, it's been retired for a minute.
What happens if, like, what if Golden Guardians were to leave the league too? Like, would at that point you stop picking teams because you're just cursing them?
Yes.
Don't. They won't. They won't. They went from being the worst team for like 2.5 splits to being really fucking good.
Nope, I'm digging Guardians.
Or
I'm
pretty good,
really
I should say.
excited to like split my allegiance between Dignitas and Golden Guardians.
I'm excited for Dignitas to come in. Immortals coming back will be neat. It'll be interesting if it's Phoenix One or a different branding for the replacement of Echo Fox. But,
Yeah.
Alright guys, that does it for us though. Here, episode 27. Until next week, cheers.
Peace.